A letter from Sergeant Oris Evers, a liberator of Dachau, written home, May 2nd, 1945. Dearest Mom and Lou, a year ago I was sweating out shells on Anzio beachhead. Today I am sitting in Hitler's luxurious furnished apartment in Munich, writing a few lines home. What a contrast. A still greater contrast is that between his quarters here and the living hell of Dachau concentration camp only 10 miles from here. I had the misfortune of seeing the camp yesterday, and I still find it hard to believe what my eyes told me. A railroad runs alongside the camp, and as we walked toward the boxcars on the track, I thought of some of the stories I had previously read about Dachau, and was glad of the chance to see for myself, just to prove once and for all that what I heard was propaganda. But no, it wasn't propaganda at all. If anything, some of the truth had been held back. In 2 years of combat, you can imagine I have seen a lot of death, furious death mostly, but nothing has ever stirred me as much as this. I can't shrug off the feeling of utter hate I now hold for these people. I've shot at Germans with intent to kill before, but only because I had to or else it was me. Now I hold no hesitation. The first boxcar I came to had about 30 what were once humans in it. All were just bone with a layer of skin over them. Most of the eyes were open and had an indescribable look about them. Bodies on top of each other. No telling how many. And then into the camp itself. Filthy barracks suitable for about 200 persons held 1,500. 160,000 persons were originally in the camp, and 32,000 were alive, or almost alive, when we arrived. There is a gas chamber and furnace room. 2 rooms were full of bodies waited to be cremated. In one room, they were all nude, and the other, they had prison clothes, filthy as dirt itself. How can people do things like that? I never believed they could until now. By 1944, the tide of the war had swung in favor of the Allies. In the West, D-Day, the largest invasion in military history, was launched on the French beaches of Normandy, and in the East, the Soviets were rapidly advancing through Poland. While the borders were being pushed back on both, the prisoners were quickly evacuated by the SS, moving them closer to the center of Germany. Most camps were either destroyed or cleaned, all evidence of one of history's most heinous crimes erased. But in the summer of 1944, the Soviets' rapid advance combined with the SS incompetence left one camp in Majdanek, Poland, mostly intact. It was the first concentration camp to be liberated. Much of the evidence was gathered by the Soviets and was combined with more evidence from Auschwitz to make documentaries that were later used in the Nuremberg trials.
In the spring of 1945, the Allies made significant advances into Germany. As the war drew to a close in May, more camps were liberated on the eastern and western front. The scene they found was beyond anything they had ever witnessed before, even after fighting bloody battles for several years, as previously described by Sergeant Evers. Tragically, almost 50% of all prisoners died within days of being liberated, for a variety of reasons. Many prisoners had forced themselves to survive, in hopes of an eventual end to their suffering. When that end finally came, their weary bodies relaxed for the first time in years, which was fatal. Some Allied soldiers literally killed them with kindness when they overfed rations that the starving prisoners' bodies were unable to handle. Many more were already in critical condition when they were liberated, and there was little that the Allies could do, even after the destruction of the Third Reich. The prisoners' lives were not free from the Nazis' crimes. Soldiers returned to their homes after the war's end, welcomed back as heroes. The fate of the liberated was not as fortunate. They were left with nothing but pain and loss. Some Jews were even met with violent anti-Semitic pogroms when they returned to their homes. The Allies even excluded them from testifying at the Nuremberg trials. In the enormous process of rebuilding Europe after 6 years of utter destruction, the Jews, who had endured as much as anyone, were kicked to the side. In spite of this, survivors moved to Israel and America to rebuild their lives and started families. ensuring that the Jewish people would never be destroyed. The psychological impact of the horrors faced by both prisoners and liberators undoubtedly left scars that would never heal. Although many years have passed, no one who was involved in the experience could ever forget it.
My first experience, and as I entered the camp, I only described it, I wrote in my little book and I described my experiences. I was entering Dante's Inferno.